Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. Going to take a look at the Tigers today. Hopefully you guys are travelling well. We're getting through these videos now, the club by clubs. If you've got any videos you'd like me to do after I finish these, they do take a bit of time. I know I wanted to finish them by like New Year's sort of period, but we're probably going to go a little bit into early January. But it is what it is. I think it'll be good. We'll really start to get running with the interest levels probably once the cricket sort of finishes. We really smash into. I know a lot of people do BBL and that, but I think once the Test cricket finishes, and even after the Australian Open, it's always like once Feb hits, Supercoach interest just goes through the roof. There's more footy stories and that type of thing. So we're going to take a look at Richmond today. Going to take a look at their lock as I fumble through that one. Breakout, risk, and no chance for my side. And I found the Tigers really difficult. And to be fair, they've been difficult for a while. The main person I want to talk about today is Dustin Martin, and we'll get to him. I've got a breakout contender that I really like, and I'm a bit stuck for someone that's a lock. So if you've got a Tiger in your side at the moment, I'd love to hear that. But Richmond, even at their peak, traditionally haven't been a side that we've had, amazing affection for their fantasy options. That's often been, one week it's Edwards, then it's Lambert, then it's Cochin and Martin. Martin's been the guy. And that's what is going to make this selection quite interesting, whether we go with him or not. I'll speak about him in a few minutes' time. But like I said, I don't really have a lock. So if you got one out there, let me know. I just wanted to mention Tom Brown. He's not really a lock, but he sort of slid a bit in the draft. I feel like the Tigers need an inside mid type. And by all reports, he was one of the better ones. Again, he's got to have a good pre-season. He's got to get through a fair bit. So he's far from a lock, but I didn't have too much else to sort of deal with. So let's get stuck into these next two categories. And the breakout contender, I've got a Shay Bolton. I'm really excited about this guy. I think last year he was in that category of he could explode. 86 he averaged that year. And then we were thinking he could take it to in the 90s. It actually went the other way, 84.2, and he had some games where he just was consistent around that 90 and 100 mark, and then just fell away at certain stages as well. I know he had an absolute stinker where he played mainly forward, and he might have scored somewhere in the 20s, I think it was. So I'm just looking at Richmond and saying, their old brigade is really getting on now, particularly through the midfield. So I just think there's big opportunity for your likes of Rioli, Collier, Dawkins, a Tom Brown that I just mentioned, a youngster, even Jack Graham to get a lot more responsibility, and Shay Bolton's another guy. So he's silky smooth, he's got evasive skills, he's the sort of guy that if he's on and he's confident, you just can't get a hand on him. Now, obviously he's got to improve other areas of his game. There's a reason he hasn't taken it to that next level just yet, but I feel like it could be now. He's always shown that ability to get 25 or more possessions when he does play midfield. I'm hoping that he can get that chance, but we do have quite a few options running through the forward line, so it's something to just consider. He might be a good option, but there might be better out there. And I just wanted to quickly mention Dan Rioli. Again, we're not going to pick the guy, but I think he averaged about 61. But his back end of the year, probably last 6 games where he played off half back, no Bashahuli now. So I think, that's an opportunity for him he might be a guy who can just average around 80. Sometimes I like to throw in one that, we're not going for classic, but he might just be on your radar for draft. There might be a little gem late in the piece. So he could lift his average potentially. But the big one I want to talk about, and that's Dustin Martin. Now, I landed with him in the risk category. I was nearly thinking, is he in the lock category? But then I thought, well, this could happen, and is he a pass? Is he injuries, this and that? Lost all those kilos, rah, rah, rah. So I thought, well, he's got to be in the risk category because there's a fair bit going on here. So averaged 92.5 last year, and of course there was an injury-affected game in there as well. I think he was done and dusted by half-time at some point in the year. And prior to that, the thing with Dusty is we think Dusty, we say, oh, is he the best of all time? Is he the best of the modern generation? Oh, he's the best this, he's the best that. But he actually hasn't been a Supercoach gun, which is interesting. We talk about your Judds and your Ablets and even Franklin at his best. They were just locks for Supercoach. Dusty's never been that. Aside from his Brownlow year, which was huge, he sort of averaged 103, 100, 100, and then down to that 92.5. So I've always been a big pusher for Martin. I've really always backed him in. I've always felt when he's available as a forward, he's a lock. Now, I'm not as sold on it this year, just with how he's been coming back from all those reports about, he's lost 10 kilos and he's a different type of Dusty, this and that. I'd just like to get a look at him. It could work two different ways. The need for Richmond to find a few more midfielders or maybe they don't have that luxury anymore of just Martin playing good when he wants. That sounds funny, but I really do think the reason he's averaged around 100, which sort of seems low for such a star, I really do feel like he picks and chooses. He plays well when the side really needs him, when he's feeling like it, but he likes the big stage. We know that. And there's definitely been games where he's just content for the side to go nuts, go well. He kicks a couple, scores 92. I think at times he likes the challenge, and I just wonder, could that challenge be here for him to really lead this midfield, which is something he's done at times, but has always had a pretty big split between the midfield and the forward line. So it could work both ways. He could play much more midfield, or we could have seen the best of Dusty gone already. So it'll be very interesting to see. I think he's going to be a good selection. If you go with him, he's going to average in the 90s, so he's not going to drop off the face of the earth. You'd think 95 is about the worst it can go, which is pretty good. Decent price. So I think he'll be popular. I just am really interested to see what sort of a role Richmond go with him. Will he have a different role at all, or will it just be the same? Will other guys pick up the slack? Because there definitely is a changing of the guard. He's not that old. He's just coming up to, 31, I think in about 3 or 4 months. So he's not that old. So I'll be quite interested to see. Let me know if you're going to start Dusty. And yeah, no chance for my side. Again, these ones are tough. Didn't really find anything interesting on this one. But I went Dion Prestia. Again, a lot of this is around how Richmond's midfield is going to look. And if you're at all tempted by him, I'd have to say no. He's had 2 injury-interrupted years. And then prior to that was his really good year where he finished the year amazingly. So 85.2 with just the 9 games. He's definitely underpriced, but we definitely shouldn't consider him. So just a little quick one there. I don't think too many would be thinking about Dion. But I think it all revolves around Dusty, doesn't it? So often does with Richmond on and off the fantasy world. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether you're going with him. And like I said off the top, if I've missed a lock or there's someone you think should be in there, let me know. But I'll be back soon as we work in the last few club by clubs. Cheers.